Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Maria. We gather today to honour and celebrate a man whose life was shaped by determination, passion, and the quiet strength that comes from working in the land. William Ernest Pluschke, known to you all as Bill. Bill was born in Northampton in 1932 and passed away on the 19th of December, aged 93. He was a farmer, not just by trade, but by spirit. Farm work wasn't simply his job. He could grow anything. Give him a bit of soil, a seed, and some sunlight, and he would turn it into life. And if a tool broke or something didn't work the way it should, he'd find a way, because he was handy, resourceful, and able to make do with what he had. Nothing ever went to waste in his hands. The flowers on Bill's casket today are from the farm, and the wheat head tributes are also from the farm. Bill was described to me as stubborn. That stubbornness was the backbone of his strength. It was what got him up before the sun, what kept him working long after others would have called it a day, and what helped him overcome challenges that would have stopped a lesser spirit. It was also what shaped his loyalty, passion, and his deep love for the people around him. Though farming was his world, he was far from one-dimensional. He was a man who embraced life in full stride, a skilled horse rider, a dancer with surprising rhythm, and a fierce competitor in tennis and table tennis. Today there will be only one tribute shared, and that is the eulogy. There will be an opportunity to share your own personal tributes upstairs at the wake following the service. I now ask Bill's wife, Catherine, to come forward to share the eulogy. Come up, boys, with Mum if you wish.
Sorry?
Come nice and close.
Oh my goodness, there are a lot of you here. Oh, this is difficult. That's hard. Bill meant many things to many people. A son, brother, cousin, nephew, uncle, great-uncle, and great-great-uncle. A friend to many, a husband to myself, father to Hannah, James, and Samuel, and grandfather to Rowan and Charlotte. And of course, Bill was a farmer, and we all know how much he loved his land. Bill was known as William, Bill, Billy, Uncle Billy, and he was especially chuffed that there was another Billy Pluschke in the family, the son of Harrison and Mill. William Ernest Pluschke was born on the 30th of October 1932, the fifth child of Jack and Annie Pluschke. Although by the time Bill was born, two of these children, John and Tom, had already died. Jack and Annie went on to have a further 7 children, making a total of 12 births. But again, another 2 children, Mary and Millicent, sadly died in infancy. The family lived and grew up in the Shire of Northampton, first at the Swamps and later in the town of Northampton. Bill told me that their life was tough and hard with little money. He said he had never had a shop-bought toy and played with an old tin can with a stone inside, pulled along by a piece of string. At the age of 10, Bill spent some time at Swan Boys Orphanage in Perth. I think this was when Annie stayed in Northam to have the twins, Winky and Winnie. Bill's memories of his time at Swan Boys Orphanage were not happy ones for him. When Bill was 14 years old, his mother Annie sadly died, leaving a family of young children. Bill then talked of the families that helped them at this time, the Taylors and the Ridleys, and I apologise if I have missed anyone else. Bill left school at 14 years, and his first job was working for Ernie Teakle. He lived at the Teakle farm, where he rode a horse, milked cows, and helped out on the farm. He spoke fondly of Mrs. Teakle, Beryl, who made his breakfast and dinner, and every morning presented him with a neatly packed lunch of sandwiches. His next job was working for Harold Box at Glenorrhy. It was during this time, when Bill was about 22 years, that Bill and his brothers, Doug and Harry, bought 15,000 acres of virgin land, and I'm told at the princely sum of 2 and 6 an acre. Wish we had it like that now. His three brothers continued working at their day jobs and spent weekends and any spare time clearing the bush for farming land, and this must have been hard, back-breaking work. After some time, the land was divided into 3 5,000 more blocks. Doug had Rumble Springs, Harry Ocean View, and Bill Satora Farm. Bill's choice of farm name is interesting. He was told he had to have a name for the farm. Bill was having his breakfast and there was a jar of jam on the table. The label stating it came from Tatora district in Victoria. Bill thought, that will do, and Tatora Farm was born. Gradually, more land was cleared, machinery bought, and buildings erected. Bill lived in a small tin shack with limited facilities. I don't actually think there were any. Some of you will remember this tin shack, where the walls were peppered with bullet holes, where he had shot at snakes who had dared to cross his threshold. Finally, a transportable house was purchased, and a veranda and pool room were added. Many a Pluschke party has been held in that pool room. Bill enjoyed a party, and the local area's annual New Year's Eve party was held in the shearing shed for many years, until Port Gregory built its own community hall. Bill enjoyed several recreational pursuits. He was an accomplished horse rider. He loved dancing, attending dances at the King's Hall in Northampton, and I am told at this very yacht club. He was a very good tennis and table tennis player. One talent surprised us all. We were staying with our good friends Rick and Dorothy Skelton in their shack at Halfway. A pair of water skis appeared. We set off to Lucky Bay. Rick's boat was launched and several people tried to water ski, but to no avail. Bill took his turn, and we all thought this would end up in Bill's ungainly soaking. The boat took off, and Bill rose up on the skis and completed the circuit. The laugh was on us. Bill said he had learnt to ski by being towed by a jeep along the Port Gregory foreshore. During his bachelor days, Bill spent some time travelling. He joined a farmers group visiting the east side of Australia and America. In 1984, Bill and I were married, and we had 3 marriage celebrations. One in England when we married, and one when we arrived in Perth with our Perth friends, and one in the shearing shed with the local community. 3 parties, 3 wedding cakes, pretty good. Early 1995, we bought the adjoining 2,500 acres, of which the peaks, Albert and Victoria, are situated. In August 1995, our daughter Hannah was born. Her middle name is Victoria. Now that name was on our list of names, but it seemed somewhat right that she be called partly after the new land. On Valentine's Day 1989, James and Samuel were born, and life suddenly became busy and chaotic. Bill's family was complete. We had a good life on the farm. The children attended Northampton District High School. travelling each day on the school bus, and they later went to Nagle as boarders in Geraldton. Parties were held in the pool room and shearing shed, bonfires, sleepovers, swimming in the dams, spotlighting, catching marron, building cupboard houses, and swimming lesson holidays at Port Gregory. We have had many visitors to the farm, both from Australia and my relations and friends from England. Many of the nieces and nephews and friends' children spent part of their gap years at the farm. Only last year we had a great nephew, Jack, to come and spend a year with us. Married life is not perfect, and sometimes disputes develop between Bill and myself. One night we had an argument and retired to bed somewhat cross with each other. About 3:30 a.m, I woke and decided to have a cup of tea. I was drinking the tea when I saw what I thought was a coil of rope on the dining room floor. I got up to investigate and discovered to my horror a small snake asleep on the floor. My first thought was to wake Bill, but then I thought, if this snake moves and hides somewhere, then I would be packing my bags and leaving. Keeping my eyes on the snake, I crept into the kitchen and got the meat cleaver. Clonk! I chopped the snake in half. I went to wake Bill, bloodied meat cleaver in hand. I think he thought his time had come. Another matrimonial dispute was over the daylight saving trial. I look forward to this trial, as coming from England, I had always enjoyed daylight saving. I know most of you don't. Naively, I thought this would be good for our family. Bill would go and return from work on the farm at his usual times, leaving us some daylight hours to enjoy quality time together with our children. The trial started. Bill went to work at his usual time, but he continued to work till the sun set. We saw less of him than ever, and that fantasy bit the dust. We continued on the farm with its regular seasonal changes until 2002, when at the age of 70, Bill was diagnosed with bladder cancer. This was a tough time, as Bill had to receive treatment in Perth. This meant regular trips to Perth, at first every week, for radiation and chemotherapy, returning each weekend so Bill could return to the farm. This was followed by visits every 3 weeks for more chemo. This treatment was ultimately unsuccessful, and Bill finally had his bladder removed in 2003. He survived to live a further 22 years. As Bill got older, more medical problems developed. Heart problems, stage 4 kidney failure, and finally a blood disorder which necessitated weekly blood transfusions and lately transfusions of platelets. Throughout all this time, until the last 2 years, Bill continued to work his land. The last 2 years have been particularly difficult, and for this last year, Bill has had to live in Geraldton, which was very hard for him. We wanted Bill to end his days at home, but he needed more care than we could give, and he spent his last 4.5 weeks at St John of God's Palliative Care Unit. One of the last photos on the screen is of Bill's 93rd birthday, with his birthday cake, taken on the 30th of October. This turned out to be Bill's last night at home, as he was admitted to St John of God's the next day. We are so glad that on Friday the 28th of November, we took Bill out of hospital, and Winky and I took Bill to the farm to see the boys harvesting, and also, as an added bonus, to see the wild pigs they had caught in the trap. During Bill's hospital stay, James and Samuel caught some marron, and they took it to hospital for Bill to enjoy. Bill had 2 languages. He had sheepyard language and house language. Unfortunately, during the last few months of his life, Bill's sheepyard language came to the fore, and I think his colourful language quite amused the wonderful staff at St John of God's Palliative Care Unit. It was difficult to tell what Bill was trying to say during his last days. but 2 words were clearly understandable from the tone of his voice and the flow of the words. I won't repeat them here. Suffice to say, one began with F and the second with an H. When James and I went to discuss funeral arrangements, we were asked how we would best describe Bill. Both of us, with no discussion, collaboration or hesitation, blurted out, stubborn. We then tried to think of more polite words, like determined, resolute. But these are not really Bill, are they? Stubborn is. The word stubborn was used a lot by Bill during his last hospital stay, as he tried to do many things unaided, which he couldn't. A wise nurse said, perhaps you need to be a bit stubborn to get to 93, living through tough times and hard work, the end of the Depression, the Second World War, droughts, fires, and the Saroja cyclone. People like Bill are a dying breed. He took a virgin bush block covered with scrub and rocks and turned it into a productive working farm and home for his family. Bill is not a modern-day farmer. He did not know how to turn on a computer, had no knowledge of the internet or how to use the technical instruments in modern-day farming, but he knew and loved his land, his crops. He could look at a sheep, feel it with his hands and know all about it. Often when returning to the farm and opening the gate, he would say, someone's been here, or the pigs have been through here. I never knew how he did this. Farming has moved on, better machinery and equipment, better chemicals and fertilisers, certainly higher costs. But you can't put a price on the sort of knowledge and experience Bill had. He lived, loved and breathed his land. Some thank yous need to be said. As a family, we thank the medical and allied support staff who have cared for Bill. Dr. Shanks and our GP and the staff at Bluff Point Medical Centre. Ward, emergency and ambulance staff at Geraldton's Regional Hospital. And staff at the Midwest Cancer Clinic. Palliative care community team. Nurses and carers from Silver Chain. Staff who came to our house every week to collect blood samples. Nurses and doctors at St John of God's Palliative Care Unit. All these people treated Bill and our family with such care and respect, and we thank them. I also thank the many people who have sent messages of comfort and condolence. The people who visited Bill at hospital and at home. Thank you to all of you for coming, some who have travelled far, to support us today. I thank my children for their help in caring for Bill and their support to me. Last but by no means least, we as a family thank Bill's brother, Winston, Winky, who has been a constant source of support and help. He has been wonderful. Every family needs a Winky. Thank you, Winky, from us all. The funeral arrangements were created by Barbara Williams, with flowers, wreath and wool from the farm. This service, this service is being live streamed so that family and friends that are unable to attend can share this time with us today. Today is Bill's funeral and the celebration of his life, but later on in the year we will be holding a Pluschke bonfire at which we intend to place Bill's ashes on the farm. We will follow this by good food, good company, and weather permitted, a bonfire. And so, Bill, we come here today to celebrate your life and to say farewell to your earthly body, but not to say farewell to you, because, I can't see my right one, I think, not to say farewell to you, because you will live on through Hannah, James, Samuel, Rowan and Charlotte, whom he loved and was proud of. and your extended family and friends who will always remember you. Bill doesn't really need a monument. He already has a living monument, his family and his beloved Tutora farm. As you can tell, this is a secular service, but I ask you now to think of Bill and place him in the care of whatever gets you personally through this funny, sometimes great, sometimes sad old world. Bill had a long, productive life. He loved his family and his land. He lives on through our memories. Remember him with kindness. There is a song by Eric Bowell called And Now I'm Easy, which I think describes many Australian farmers, especially Bill. For nearly 60 years I've been a cocky. Of floods and fires and of droughts and floods and fires I've lived through plenty. This country's dust and mud have seen my tears and blood, but it's nearly over now, and now I'm easy. Rest easy, Bill. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Catherine. We will now view Bill's photo presentation.
Did you ever wake up in the morning on the wrong side of the bed, a bit confused and yawning? You go straight out the back to your shed. Yeah, all Australian boys need a shed, a place where he can go, somewhere to clear his head, think about the things his woman said. Yeah, all Australian boys need a shed, a joint to learn to read and write, to work on his bike at night, to grow up as he likes, to grow anything under lights, a place to keep his tools, nuts and bolts and drills, to hang a hide, to hide the dry, to hang and pay the bills. Well, my old shed, she leaks a bit, the roof is caving in, nothing that a bloke can't fix with a few spare sheets of tin. The beams are old telegraph poles, white ants are beaten out. She creaks and sways on windy days and wings towards the south. And all Australian boys need a shed, at the back of the shed where the dogs are fed, near last year's bales of loosened, sticky tall green weeds came up and thrown out seeds. All it took was pan and pull, I watered them once and they grew some. You should be primed about Easter time, no nosy neighbour steals them. Yeah, all Australian boys need a shed, to build up broken gates, a place for all his mates, to come round Sunday arvo for a jam, a place to make a racket, find a pipe and pack it, and think about the things his woman said. Yeah, all Australian boys need a shed, yeah, all Australian boys need a shed, yeah, all Australian boys need a shed, come round Sunday arvo for a jam, a place to make a racket, find a pipe and pack it, think about the things his woman said. Yeah, all Australian boys need a shed, yeah, all Australian boys need a shed, yeah, all Australian boys need a shed.
I now invite Louise Jolly forward to recite the dash.
I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates of the tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of birth and spoke of the following dates with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represents all the time they spent alive on earth. And now only those who love them know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spent our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are these things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that still can be rearranged. To be less quick to anger and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect and more often wear a smile, remembering that this special dash might only last a little while. So when your eulogy is being read, with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about you and how you lived your dash?
You are now invited to come forward to Bill's casket and place a stem of wheat from the farm.
The sun is sinking in the west. The cattle go down to the stream. The redwing settles in the nest. It's time for a cowboy to dream. Purple light in the canyons, that's where I long to be, with my three good companions, just my rival pony and me. Gonna hang my sombrero on the limb of a tree. Coming home, sweetheart darling, just my rightful pony and me. Just my rightful, my pony and me. Whippoorwill in the willow sings a sweet melody, riding to Amarillo. Just my rightful pony and me. No more cow to be roping, no more stray will I see round the bend. She'll be waiting for my rightful pony and me. For my rightful, my pony and And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I traveled each and every highway and more, much more than this. I did it my
charted course, each careful step along the byway. More, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall, and did it my way. I laughed and cried, I had my fill, my share of losing, and now, as tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way. Oh no, not me. I did it my way. For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. It shows I took the rose and did it my Yes, it was my
Ladies and gentlemen, our service is now coming to a close. The family extend an invitation to you all to join them upstairs following the service for light refreshments and to share your personal tribute. Bill's private cremation will take place at a later date, and in a moment I'll ask the pallbearers to come forward to escort Bill's casket back to the hearse. Today we have said goodbye to a man who lived with purpose, with heart and with grit, a man who worked honestly and stood firmly for what mattered. Though he may no longer walk the paddocks he loved, his spirit remains. I now ask James to come forward and recite the poem, My Father, the Farmer.
My father, the farmer. Oh. My father, the farmer. Our father is a farmer. His heart is in the soil. It's there he finds his solace among the grimy toil. He plants the seed in autumn, the wheat, the lupins, the hay. He looks to the heavens to bless them. Let it rain, O Lord, I pray. He tills and cultivates the soil, provides the most tender care, believing come November, he'll reap a harvest fair. Blue skies are his cathedral, the tractor, the altar of prayer. He meets God out in the wheat fields. They have long conversations there. My father is a farmer. That's all he ever knew. The values that the land taught him. To stand tall, to stand true. So place your hat upon the hook. Your cup of tea is made. Rest easy now in your armchair as the final light of day begins to fade. It's all going to be all right, Dad. You taught us well. We'll take care of your paradise, your farm, your home, your soil. Sit down or?
Yeah. Thank you, James. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the committal. From the rising sun over open paddocks to the quiet evenings spent tending the land, Bill lived a life rooted in patience and care. He knew the seasons, trusted the soil, and honoured the gifts of creation. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. May you rest in peace, Bill. Your harvest is complete. Thank you, pallbearers.
I spent it in good company, and all the harm I've ever done, alas, it was too. None but me, and all I've done for want of wit to memory now I can't recall. Oh, fit. That I need. So fit.